Hello and good evening, guys. Namaste and assalamu alaikum. We are back here to wish you a small good luck for tomorrow. Those of you who are appearing for MRCP UK Part 1 examinations. I understand that most of you will be, in a very different state, but that is why exactly why I am here to tell you that that is not what you have to do, but you just need to relax. Okay. So instead of just breaking your head over what is going to happen tomorrow, do not think about it. But then there are certain things that you need to make sure that are in place because tomorrow your brain will be in a different zone, right? So before entering your examination hall, you need to set up certain things before that. So let's just have a quick look at what are the things that you need so that your examination process goes smoothly. Okay. Okay, so the first thing you will need is your most importantly your printed exam document, that is your admission document. Now you need to print it beforehand and you need to sign it because there are no pens available as such in the exam hall. So you need to sign it beforehand. Okay, so sign this document properly. That is the first and the foremost thing. And the second and rather the most important thing, even more important than this, is your identity card, photo identity card. Okay, so this in most of the cases is your valid passport. Make sure that your passport is valid and not expired. If the name on your photo ID card, the exact spelling of the name on the photo ID card and this admission document are not matching, then I recommend that you carry some other photo ID card which has your photo as well as the exact name that is mentioned on your admission document. Okay, these two things are very, very, very important. Please make them ready and keep them in a place so that you can carry them safely tomorrow morning. Okay, and as a new addition to the rules, no watches, wristwatch, wall clock, nothing. You are not allowed to carry wall clocks. So no wristwatches are allowed, be it a smartwatch or analog watch. Nothing is allowed. Okay, so you do not have to carry that, but yes, you have the provision for wall clocks in all of the exam center. And if you are unable to see the clock properly once you enter the exam hall, you can go and ask your exam controller that it is not visible from your seat, so they will make proper arrangements for that. Okay, so they will be there and they are a very vital part of the exam as well. We'll get to that. Okay, and keeping in light the COVID guidelines, you need to carry 2 HB, or if this is not available, 2 HB pencil might not be available in all of the places. So in that case, you can also carry HB pencils, but this is the recommended one. 2 HB pencils are the recommendation. So you have to carry them, okay, with you because some of the centers will not be providing you with the pencils. Okay, so that is one thing. And another point being water requirement. Some of you need excessive water, some of you drink no water at all. Do not carry any water because water bottles are not allowed from outside. Do not carry water into the exam hall. You can definitely keep them in your bag. Okay, and do not drink excessive water. Okay, we'll talk about water and food very quickly. And you need to figure out what you will have, the food item for lunch. Okay, so some of you drink excessive water and that's not a good thing, especially for exam, because you'll be wasting your time in visiting the washroom frequently. Although you are allowed, and yes, you're allowed to visit the washroom, so don't panic, but then it consumes time and there's a procedure. Someone will accompany you to the gate and all that, so and your ID will be rechecked again, so that wastes quite a lot of time, right? So do not drink excessive water, but then on the other hand as well, do not get dehydrated as well. Okay, keep yourself properly adequately hydrated as a part of examination thing. And for lunch, as far as it is concerned, do not consume a very heavy outbreak of like something amazing food, do not consume that and do not go into the sleep mode. Rather have something which has a good amount of protein like energy bars and something else, but do not have a very heavy lunch and just, switch on those hormones, right? So just have a decent amount of lunch and think of what you're going to have in your lunch right now, and rather write it in a piece of paper and keep it with you so that you don't waste your mental energy tomorrow in thinking what it is that you are going to have. Okay? Because this is what you will need tomorrow and you will need it in adequate amount, right? And in a proper functioning way as well. Okay, now to maintain it in a proper functioning way, there are certain things that you will need to do within the exam. So the first things first, the foremost and the most important thing, keep an eye on the clock. Since you are not allowed wristwatches, you will not be able to track time if you do not keep looking at the wall clock. So keep an eye on the clock, and 3 hours, at the end of 3 hours, you will not be allowed to do anything. So by anything, I mean that you are not allotted separate time to transfer your answers. So before the time runs out, transfer your answers. Now, some people would like to do it at the end of the exam after finishing all the questions, they have solved them. But that is a very bad strategy, because in that case, if you take a lot of time in reading and answering your question, then you do not have any separate time to answer your questions on the answer sheet. That is to circle or darkening the circle and whatever you want to call it. So do this thing beforehand. Okay, not this thing, just the darkening part. Like, let's say at an interval of 25 questions, it's a good number. So you have sort of break every 1/4 of the paper. Okay, so you can relax your head while you are just darkening the circles, but also make sure that you are darkening the proper appropriate question. Like it's question number 5, then question number 6. So just make sure that the intended question is being circled. Okay. Right. So 25 questions is a good amount when you should definitely transfer your answers on the answer sheet. After this, only you should proceed further. Okay. Do not wait for the end of the exam to transfer all the 100 questions. There is a very high risk of losing the questions, like you will not be able to finish it in due time. So just keep switching and keep circling. Okay. So do not wait for all the questions to get completed. Also, most importantly, sometimes what happens is that, okay, let me get back. Okay. So what happens sometimes is that the first question, like they say, morning sets the day, but don't let the morning set the day in this particular exam. Okay. It's an exam, and you just have to think that it's like a very busy OPD day for you. Okay. And I'm very sure that most of you are already accomplished physicians who are very well versed with the things. So you just need to understand that it's just a random day wherein you are being thrown 100 patients one by one. You have to quickly go through them. Okay. So sometimes what happens is that the first question is, pretty on the tougher end or maybe on the easier end. So don't get shifted in that direction. Don't let a tough question dishearten you, neither don't let an easy question make you think that okay, you have nailed the exam already. Stay in your comfort zone, stay in your cool zone in your head. Don't sway. Okay, do not get excited or do not get depressed as well. Okay, so that is very important. Don't let the first question, just do it, solve it, and just move on. Keep ahead, keep moving on. It is very important that you forget the previous one and just move to the next question. In the very similar fashion, it is also important that you do not discuss any questions during the lunchtime. Okay, excuse me. So it is very important that you do not discuss any questions during the lunchtime, not with your colleagues, with your anybody. You are not even allowed to, although. But more importantly, you should not focus on what the questions have come and what you have answered. You just try to relax your head, keep yourself as cool as possible and as chilled out as possible. Because the reason is that there will be a newer set of questions that will be thrown at you immediately. So you should be prepared for that rather than ruling over what happened in the previous session. You can do that later on. Once you come back from the exam hall, you can always drop us a mail. You can talk to your friends and relatives, but do not disclose the exact questions. That is strictly against the law. That you would have signed a non-disclosure agreement already. So keep in mind that you have signed an NDA agreement. So don't do that. But then, of course, you can discuss the themes around which the exam patterns and the questions that were based around those patterns or themes. Okay, that is that. Look for keywords. Keywords are certain words that trigger a particular answer, like we have discussed throughout our regular classes as well as during our YouTube lectures and premium sessions as well. Keywords like, for example, in certain questions, mention of Asian population would hint towards disease which is tropical in nature, right? Sometimes they'll talk about Asian countries, and then they will talk about infectious diseases, and they'll talk about TB. So that's a pattern you would have noted. So look for those patterns and look for those cues. Be confident that whatever it is that you're thinking, the first answer that strikes your head is the correct answer. Do not change the answer later on unless you are in a doubt. Okay. I want to tell you this, that once you are solving a question, let's say this is a question stem, it's written on the question paper. So once you're solving it, let's say you are unsure of the answer. Okay. So maybe that you will not be very unsure of all the options, right? At least two options you will always be able to rule out. So in that particular case, just strike out the options, and whichever you think is the best answer, just put a question mark over it, or maybe just put any sign or symbol, whatever it is that you are comfortable with, maybe a star or whatever. But also, most importantly, please, if you think this is the best answer, please mark this immediately in your answer sheet, because later on you might not get time to come back to this question. In that case, what will happen is you would have missed this question. Since there is no negative marking, it is very advisable that you answer all the questions. In fact, that is what RCP wants you to do. They want you to make educated guesses, okay? Because that is what is happening in real life as well. You do not know the exact diagnosis in a patient unless some time has elapsed and all the investigative procedures have been completed. We are all actually making educated guesses. Nobody is 100% sure in any case, right? So do this, and also put a question mark. And let's say the B was the closest one you want to think around it. So just put a question mark around this also. Okay. So these two, so that once you come back, if you have the time, already A and E would have been eliminated from your question stem. So you don't have to waste your time again eliminating A and E. Only these three options will be remaining with you. Okay. So you're getting the point, right? Try to eliminate options. The presence of negative signs and symptoms are important, but sometimes normal values are equally important to rule out certain things. For example, a very normal value of albumin, and then question pointing towards celiac disease, then you have to, rethink the diagnosis like that. I'm not going into the technical part of it right now. Please don't worry about it, because you have prepared very well. All of you have spent enough brains and head and time in preparing for it. So, okay. Yeah. So just know that you have prepared really well for it, and the time is right for you to enter the battle mode. But this is not a battle. And that's the funny thing. Although it's the biggest battle of your life, maybe, but then this is not a battle at all. It is just a process of learning, and you are definitely going to enjoy it tomorrow. Don't forget to enjoy the exam tomorrow, because it's really an enjoyable experience. Take it lightly. Go there, sit there, enjoy, and answer the questions appropriately. Think what you would do normally in a normal scenario. Don't panic at all. Eat properly. Okay. Reach your exam center 1 hour at least before the mentioned time, because the time mentioned over there, let's say 10 a.m., the exam exactly begins at 10 a.m. So you cannot enter the exam hall at 10 a.m. You should go there at least 1 hour earlier, so that you are easily settled and you find your place and everything else. Okay. So do what you can with all you have, right? Just push yourself, and for today, I think this is more than enough, and you should just relax. What's something that you like, and just learn, like just relax. Be ready for tomorrow, But do not think and do not overthink and do not worry yourself for tomorrow. Whatever will happen tomorrow, it will happen for good. Please come back and tell us how it was. Drop your comments, drop your feedbacks. We'll be more than happy to listen to you and to listen to your experiences. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. And please don't forget to drop us a hi, hello after the exam at these places where you can see. Thank you. All the very best, right, guys? All the very best for your exams. Do extremely well and come back and tell us and make us all proud. Thank you.